Good morning, everybody. My name's Larry Jacobs. This is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio, and it's July 25th, 2023. A lot of 2000 in there. Okay, July 25th, 2023. It is indeed. We got a good show for you today. One that I've been waiting for this one. Okay, I've got Dr. Sandra ELLIOTT, who I do not know, but I will know her well in a few minutes. Okay, she's the Chief Academic Officer at TOUCHMATH, and that's touchmath.com if you want to check it out. I got it linked here on site. She's a champion for what's the math equivalent of dyslexia, if I may use that kind of a term, DYSCALCULIA, okay, which I swear I have, and I'm going to talk to her about that, get some help from the doctor, so to speak. All right, she spent over 4 decades working to enhance education for all students. She was a special education teacher. Now she's Chief Academic Officer over at TOUCHMATH, and I can't wait to talk to her about this. And I think you need to know about this because math is always so difficult for kids, and a lot of them just have a learning disability. And if we understand that and can screen for it and intervene, we're going to help so many kids understand math so much better. And I'm going to let Sandra ELLIOTT, Dr. ELLIOTT, describe that in detail for you. We're going to archive this show over at ace-ed.org, ace-ed.org. That's the home website of our American Consortium for Equity in Education. And believe me, this show has a lot to do with equity because this undiagnosed situation for years was there for a lot of kids, I think, including myself. And, it's about equity. Every kid deserves the right to understand math. And if you can't, you might need help about it. It's really something. Over at our website, everything's free for you over there. We have our magazine, Equity and Access. Just click on the cover. We have our Excellence in Equity Awards. Okay, you might want to get involved in that with yourself, your colleagues, everybody you work with, your school, all about equity, okay? And the good things people and companies are doing, all about it. So please go over there, and every podcast we do is over there as well under the podcast tab. So please check it all out. We really work hard to make a good website, and I think you'll enjoy it, ace-ed.org. And with enough of me, and if you want to get in touch with me, it's Larry at ace-ed.org. Please do so. Always happy to get back in touch with people who do write me. Okay, with ideas, concerns, whatever the case may be. All right, I enjoy it when I hear from you. Larry at ace-ed.org. And now I said enough about me. Over to Dr. Sandra ELLIOTT. Good morning, Dr. ELLIOTT. My name's Larry.
Good morning, Larry. And everybody just calls me Elliot. So please use the nickname if you want.
If they call you Elliot, I'm going to call you Elliot too. And I have to tell you, that's my son's name.
Well, then it'll be easy for us to remember each other.
Perfect, Elliot. I love it. Okay, that's great. You're serious. You want me to call you Elliot, right?
Yes, that's been my nickname for probably the last 25 years, so help yourself.
That is just great. Okay, and you were a special ed teacher, I see here, right?
Yep, I spent a couple years as a special ed teacher and then actually became a special ed principal before I went into gen ed and moved up the ladder in education.
Well, this qualifies you for a fact. Without question, you're going to heaven. All special ed teachers go to heaven.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, we do.
You do. I don't know how, I'm older now, and I don't know how teachers do it these days, but special ed teachers, man, it's the patience and the professionalism of saints. I got to tell you, it's just amazing. And then you were a principal, and you were a district administrator, and now you're the Chief Academic Officer of TOUCHMATH. Okay, so tell us a little bit, Elliot, please, about TOUCHMATH. Brag.
I can absolutely do that.
Do it.
Well, TOUCHMATH is probably the longest living special education program around. We've been around for 48 years.
Wow.
We have specialized in mathematics for students who are struggling, so that includes your special ed populations, all of them.
And it included me back when, believe me. Yeah. It included me. Just nobody knew it. Nobody knew it. It would have included me with math. But go ahead, please.
That is definitely the case where, in the case of many children, it wasn't recognized. We're getting much, much better in education for that. But what we're known for is we're a pre-K through 8 math program, heavily used as a supplemental to all of the gen ed curriculum for the students who are struggling. Also as a core in self-contained classrooms. But we're heavily known for the fact that we're research-based and evidence-based. So there's probably, in the last 48 years, wow. I don't even keep track of all the research studies anymore, but probably the most researched program that's out there and extremely effective. I've got efficacy studies going back forever. But we're known for being multisensory, focusing on concrete representational abstract, good professional development, all of the things that make for the expectations that teachers have for a phenomenal education program.
That is great, and I can't emphasize it. It is so important. And I don't know. Help me pronounce the word DYSCALCULIA. Did I do it right?
That's one of the pronunciations. The more common one is DYSCALCULIA, as though you're saying Julia. Thank you. DYSCALCULIA. Was I right in saying it's the math equivalent of dyslexia? That's a layman's way of explaining it. How would you do it? You're exactly right.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
No,
Thank
you're
you.
exactly right. It's a great way of explaining it to most everybody.
And we know a lot about dyslexia, and it's everywhere, if I may. Okay, kids, we know how to screen for it. Dyscalculia. I'm going to keep doing that. I like that. Dyscalculia is not that familiar to everybody. I don't think. Help me out on that. Am I? Do people really know about this? And are schools really working on this? Because everybody's always
Larry,
complaining about people having trouble with math. Oh, we got to get the kids to math, algebra, all this sort of stuff. This dyscalculia. Okay, I swear also affected by learning in science, because it was my own thing. I'm just telling you this, Elliott. It was it was hard for me to perceive something that I couldn't actually grasp in my hand. That's the best way to put it. Okay, so if I look at the periodic table in chemistry, if I look at a math problem, it's not there for me. Okay, is that the same thing as dyscalculia? And pardon my lousy pronunciation of it, dyscalculia.
Oh, you're getting better. You're getting much better.
Thank you. I got the right person here, Elliott, to help me along.
Yeah.
You.
Yep.
Yeah.
Glad to help you. You should have heard some of the ways that I pronounced it when I started, because but
it's hard.
Your definition of it being a struggle, especially because it was abstract, is exactly what it is with mathematics. Our human brains start mathematics when we're born with real things, our fingers, also being able to recognize quantity, but it starts in a three-dimensional world. And then as we get older, we store those three-dimensional ideas, concepts, objects in our brains as visual perception, auditory, tactile, and we turn them into abstract things called numerals and symbols. And if that connection is not made early on, or there is a disruption in the neural pathways that we need to do mathematics, then it doesn't make a lot of sense. And since math is the foundation of science,
yes,
you're describing it exactly.
Oh, well, thank you. I wish I'm even too old for their first year in operation. Okay, 48 years ago, to have been tested for all this, and I don't even know if it exists. The test idea existed. They just thought I was bad in math. Okay, or arithmetic as it was called in those days. Okay, and it's really just that's why this is kind of like a personal show for me. It's unbelievable. Just your thought on this as you look at schools across the country. How do they attack this? Do they know about it? Talk about that kind of thing. Where's the awareness of it these days?
Well, Larry, that's a great question, and I would say that compared to dyslexia, it is easily 20 years behind. It is basically unknown. I know. That's exactly why I'm going on this tear, and so is TOUCHMATH. It's like we've got to do something about awareness, because it's the same number of students. And you cannot get a decent career if you can't do math. Think of all the STEM jobs that are open because there's not qualified adults. And it almost always stems from the fact that they couldn't do the math to get into the courses to allow them to do these jobs. So got a huge personal and economic impact for individuals and our country.
I couldn't agree with you more. Okay, it's been a real, if I may, failing of education, that this was just, he's just bad at math. Okay, no, that's not the case. I needed special kind of help. I'm not stupid. Okay, and these kids that we're talking about generically are not stupid. Okay,
correct.
They have a learning. I think I did have a learning disability. Okay, an inability to perceive non-physical things, and do calculations about it. I mean, or calculias about it. It's just, it's just really something. And now, so these days, okay, what should an educator look for? What should a school look for? Okay, and they need to get in touch with you guys. Again, it's TOUCHMATH.com. They need to get in touch. Where does this all begin? When does it all begin? How can we start helping kids? It's going to make everybody feel so much better. Where do we start? When do we start?
Okay, since we are born with the beginnings of mathematics, it's a survival skill. The earliest that the research supports that we could probably predictably find it is about 3 years of age. So, you've got little kids who cannot, they're trying to count with their fingers. You're asking them, how many is 2, how many is 3, and they can't do it. Could you go get 2 cookies? And they come back, no idea. When you get to school, kindergarten, first grade and that, you're going to find a child who's continuing to count on their fingers long past you expect them to. And that's a real common sign. Counting by twos, 2, 4, 6, 8, we take for granted. The child can't. I could tell you yesterday what 4 plus 4 was. Today, I can't do that. So
wow.
Memory doesn't seem to be holding. Time, especially for older children, constantly late, mixing up on directions, getting lost easily, can't tell left from right. So there's a lot of little indicators, but it's when you see many that it's worthwhile asking a professional, getting a screening done. The screenings are short and quick, and all they do is give an indicator that there might be something there, and then get to the teachers, get to the schools. There's professionals out there, psychologists and psychiatrists, who can help. So we know about it, but it is still definitely behind dyslexia, and I run a little quiz everywhere I go to speak. And I'll ask people, do you know what dyslexia is? And I think it runs about 99% of the hands will raise or people will nod. If I ask what dyscalculia is, the common reaction is no. Well, what is that? And it's exactly the same definition you gave. It's the equivalent of dyslexia, only it's for mathematics.
And what you said earlier, that mathematics is we are born with innate mathematics. Okay,
yes.
That to me is extremely important. If it's not developing properly, it needs to be. And it seems to me like the initial discovery of this would fall, the parents, but let's go into the profession here. It would fall on a kindergarten through third grade teacher to be aware of this, not just say that the child is bad in math, but say there's something, obviously, a learning disability involved here. And I'm curious, okay, what do when you talk to, and you must have by now, talk to math teachers, do they understand that they're the most important ones in the end? Okay, do they understand that this is a challenge out there? And there's a big difference between an elementary school teacher and a secondary math teacher. A secondary math teacher has been trained in mathematics education, where a elementary teacher is much more holistic towards the child, completely different training. Okay, so my question is, where does a math teacher fit in all this, Elliott?
Well, I think you made a phenomenal distinction there between the math that we are taught as elementary teachers and that we are expected to know, the subject matter that we're expected to know as middle school or high school teachers. For the most part, what I'm finding coming out of the university are the elementary teachers are given some training in mathematics, but there's a definite belief in the world, and especially in Western countries, that you're born with a math brain, that
Yeah.
math is something that's difficult, and that it's okay to not be good at it because I wasn't or I didn't like
it. Exactly.
Yes, and you add all that in and into an elementary classroom. So if a student is struggling, it isn't given the quite the heft that a problem with reading is. And we need to change that. So that's why I'm so thankful that you had me come on here. It's like
you're always
people
welcome.
Talk about numeracy is as important as literacy. And there are a lot of students, and it's not just those with dyscalculia, that's 3 to 7%. But think of all the students who hit third grade, take their first state assessment, and come in at the less than the 50th percentile.
Yeah, you're talking to one, I think. Yeah. I'm so old, it wasn't a state assessment, it was a colonial assessment, but it's the same thing. That was a joke. That was a joke.
Oh, it was a good one, too. So.
Not bad. Thank you. Okay. But it's true.
Yeah.
You know, you're absolutely right. Okay. So, all this said, we're going to get into it a little bit more here. 48 years now. What has TouchMath been doing about this? Okay. What you said before, you know, they've been in math special ed for years, almost 50 years, half a century. Okay. Talk about TouchMath, if you can, in terms of history. And also what they have now, that after all these years, they've developed new screening and testing products. And I think this is extremely important. So you're on. Elliott.
Okay. So 48 years ago, TouchMath was started by a special ed teacher, Jan. She had students who are now considered to be on the autism spectrum. And they were struggling with mathematics, and she was trying to figure out what to do to help them. So she uncovered, long before the research really supported it and taught us teachers, that you start with the concrete, you move to the sketch of mathematics, tally marks, drawing out the objects, and then you could move into the abstract of working with numerals and doing algebra. So that foundation being laid, it was found that it worked for all students who were struggling, and so we became a special education math company. Fast forward, and we've been working with students with dyscalculia, but the name has not been used appropriately, widely, so that it was recognized. It was just like, this is a student with a learning disability and cannot do math, so this works. We're out here now going, okay, it is definitely time to bring the proper term, the definition, the interventions that work, all the information out, because we are struggling with STEM jobs. We have a huge population of students that think they're stupid, and they're not. They can be supported and do math equivalent to the other children with the right supports, with the right interventions. So it's kind of like, all right, we've been doing this for 48 years. And we need to be using the term more forcefully, more openly.
Yeah, I
agree.
So that we
can bring awareness and action.
And so I have to ask you, who? Again, is it special ed this is falling on, or is it the math teacher, the regular elementary school teacher? Okay, where does it really slip in there? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm thinking, and yes, this is live radio.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, that is an extremely thoughtful question, and I want to pay attention to it because.
Thank you.
I think it starts. Yeah, you're making me. I think it starts with all of us, considering math to be equivalent to reading, and noticing and being aware as a regular teacher, because the special teacher is not going to see a child early on. It will be that pre-K, K1 and 2, and recognizing that this child's slowness, they're not being on par with what I expect for normal development, isn't okay. It's not normal, and I need to screen for it and see if there is something going on that's neurodevelopmental. So I really liked your question because it's kind of like
Thank you. I love your answers, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah,
I do.
Well, thank you very much for that. So does that answer your question, Larry? I honestly believe it's going to start with our elementary teachers.
Yeah.
And they need to work. they're going to work with their special ed colleagues because they're all in the schools together. And we know from research that if I collaborate as a special ed teacher with a gen ed teacher, I've just increased, I'm the perfect team. Gen ed has the pedagogy and the content knowledge, but as special ed, I've got that specific pedagogy around where the exceptions are.
Right.
Put us together and we can make a difference for the children.
Yeah, you got me thinking, like, all those kids who turned off to math. I mean, I believe this is very wide, okay? I believe it is more widespread. This is just my own thoughts, anecdotally. I think it's more widespread than dyslexia. Okay, I really do, because there are just so many people who struggle with mathematics, okay? And it was just, like you said, I'm just bad at math. That's not true. There's no such thing as that. Okay, it's a learning disability, and with help we can do it. What do you have at TouchMath that's going to help kids and help teachers? I have it listed here as new screening and testing products. Okay, tell me about that stuff.
Well, to start off on our awareness campaign, we developed a screener. We are subsidizing it 100%. So what the screener consists of is 4 parts. The screener part is based on the research of what questions can be provided a child during the course of about 7 to 10 minutes. They're going to screen for the 4 areas that the psychiatrist and the psychologist would go back and say, this is what has to be the area of struggle according to the DSM-5 TR, the manual that we use for diagnosis of all the disabilities. Mm-hmm. And those areas are going to be number sense, math facts, calculations, stages of mathematical reasoning, all those things I sort of described in the real world a little earlier. So the screening takes place. A parent or a teacher can do it. This is one of those things where teachers have a lot on their plate, so this can be done just as quickly by the parent, just as fast.
Excuse me.
So you do the screener. You also do a survey because the professionals who are going to potentially diagnose it, or even a parent and a teacher talking, has the child had a vision screening? Have they had a health screening? Have they had a hearing screening? There are some things that could cause the math problems that have nothing to do with, as you said, intellect or, a lack of education or, if I can't see, it's a little hard for me to learn. So I might need glasses.
If I can't hear, same thing,
That's correct. So do the screener, do the survey. The results that come back will put your child in one of 3 buckets. A lot of factors were evident, so there's something definitely there. Some factors, so maybe or none. But what's unique about what we did for everybody was it's one thing to get results back, but you need to explain to me as a parent or as a teacher, what am I supposed to do? So there's 2 more phases to it. One is an action plan that comes back and says, please, you were concerned enough to do the screener. Here's where the sorting came out. Go and talk to a professional and take these results and have a conversation about the child. And then we also added in an intervention plan to start, because if I do go down the path of having my child go into a child study team to see if they do have dyscalculia or another learning disability, early intervention works. I need to start now with the simple things that I can do as a parent to try and close some of those gaps while the legal process is going on. And not all children with dyscalculia are going to need an IEP or be diagnosed. I can oftentimes accommodate my math disabilities and perform relatively well, so I don't need the extra supports. Does that sort of, that was a long answer, but
it was a good answer.
Screener is, the screener's out there. We think all children who are struggling should be screened. Professionals, the teachers, all of them need to be talking about the child. Good, I've got you on board so you can
I do agree. So what happens, the kid has a screener, we perform the screening test, okay, and it turns out that the child is, I don't know what the word, dyscalculic, would that be the word?
Mm-hmm. Dyscalculic.
Not bad. Not bad, huh? I figured that one out. Okay. So they're dyscalculic, okay? Now what happens, okay? What and I'll throw it back on TouchMath, okay? Now that we know the child is dyscalculic, okay, what do we do? How do we work with it, cure it, whatever the case may be?
Cure it. I'll correct that one right there.
As I said that, I realized how stupid it was. You know what I mean. Yeah.
No, I do.
How do we make this kid successful? There's a good way to do it. What's the methodology of the products and all that sort of thing?
Well, the methodology is, teaching math for a child who's struggling, which is going to incorporate, math is math. It is very, very hierarchical, regardless of whether I am not dyscalculic or I am. I still follow the same steps to acquire math mastery. I have to start with number sense.
Wow.
I have to know that 1 can be written as a numeral. It can be written as a symbol. I have to accomplish all of that. So in working through our program, that is, it's a curriculum, and it runs pre-K through 8. But what we've built that's different from, quote, a gen ed curriculum is that there are additional lessons. There's a heavy reliance on, moving children from the concrete, working with manipulatives, a lot of multisensory, so there are additional opportunities for the information to go into the brain, be connected, a lot of practice, a lot of very, very good instructional strategies, all the ones that the research says these are the ones that we know as teachers work: explicit systematic instruction, errorless learning. I could go on and on, but that is what our program has consisted of for 48 years. That's why it's so efficacious with students who are struggling, and in putting in those supports. We also spend a lot of time, because our specialty is special ed. We know the various forms of neurodivergent thinking, disabilities, depending on how you want to call those. So we know the child. We do know the mathematics. So how do you match those two together? What does the child need to know? But very importantly, you've got the ability to sort through what are the research-based instructional strategies. And then one thing that's often forgotten that we focus a lot of time on is what are the strategies I need to teach that student going forward, because they are always going to struggle.
Yeah.
They have dyscalculia. They are on the spectrum. They have an intellectual disability. There are things that you teach the children to do so that they can demonstrate, yes, I do have the concept. I might have to demonstrate it a little differently, but when I'm an adult, it really doesn't matter. So our curriculum works well. We also have an extremely robust intervention tool that allows students to move through an algorithm at their own pace, giving them extra practice, giving them some screen time that's appropriate. Mm-hmm. And we spend a lot of time with those manipulatives. Probably what we're most famous for is we are strong believers that mathematics starts with concrete objects, specialized manipulatives, mix them in with all the others that are normally in a classroom. You've got a robust program. And then, we do a lot of professional development. Teachers need more time to focus on mathematics and the instructional strategies. We offer every month 2 free workshops that focus heavily on math or a disability, giving lots and lots of examples with varieties of things to do, because our goal is every teacher can go back after one of the workshops with 2 or 3 things that they can immediately apply the next day in the classroom that's going to support a student who's struggling with, or those that are, temporarily struggling, as we put it. That was a long answer.
No, the answer was great. That's exactly what we're looking for here. We've got time on here. Well, I'm curious, what conferences, if you know this, does TouchMath go to? Do they go to the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics, NCTM?
Absolutely, and the one for supervisors. I think if you name the conference, oh, good heavens.
Well, let me. I'm really curious about this. Do they go to like NAESP or that's the elementary school principals? That's where I think that's be a great place to go. Okay, NAESP. Okay, and of course the special ed conferences, CEC, as well as CASE. Okay, which is the administrators. Okay, and but to me, and I have to say this, and I know you guys are a special ed company. This has to be broader, and I know you agree with me, than special ed. This is broader because this has been around and hidden, and and not enough teachers, not enough educators know about it. Okay, and this is a challenge. This is a problem out there. It's not good. We have to. That's what you guys do is so important at TouchMath. Okay, this is really, really fascinating to me. I got to tell you, and you're right about the manipulatives. And I always think, and you'll like this. You can use this anecdote. Okay, I remember in like 8th grade they were trying to teach us chemistry. All right, and again, I'm having trouble with perceiving things. I remember they pulled down a chart, like a map in front of the black. That was the periodic table. They might as well have pulled down a chart, a picture of Casper the Friendly Ghost. Okay, it made no sense because I couldn't get into a 3D mode with it. And when you're talking about manipulatives, okay, when you can start to feel something, at least somebody who has my situation, it makes a difference. Okay, I just think what you're doing is really fascinating. I am thrilled. I'm so good to know you. Thank you, Sandra. Elliott. Excuse me. Thank you, Elliott.
No, thank you for letting me talk about this. I mean, as you can tell, this is a passion for me and everybody at TouchMath. So,
and you know, I got to tell you, we have our magazines and our websites. This is really, to me, a lot of things are. This is an equity question. We've been. Yes. The equity is giving every kid the education they deserve, and we've been missing the ball on this one. Okay, and I want to talk to you. Maybe you'd like to write an article for us, so we can get it in the magazine or something. Would you be interested in that?
I would love to.
Okay, I'm going to put you in touch with Maya. Yeah, Maya's our editor, and she'll. We'll take it from there. This to me is something it's an equity question. It's something that's personal. And I just find the whole thing fascinating. And this is a pleasure to know you. Thank you, Elliott. This is great.
No, well, thank you for having me on and letting me talk about TouchMath and what we're doing for all students who struggle with math. So we started out as SPED, but now that everybody's accepted that we all learn mathematics the same way, just at different speeds, we're heavily used in districts all over the world. I haven't run into a teacher yet, especially one that's SPED, that says, I use you. It's like,
fantastic.
Let's keep doing that now, just to focus the information and knowledge. So thank you for having me very much on the show.
Thank you for coming here. By the way, where are you? Where are you today?
I'm sitting in Colorado, where it is going to be blisteringly hot today.
Ooh, where are you? Are you in Denver, or where are you? Or south?
Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs. Yeah. Looking at Pikes Peak? Right?
No, because I'm blocked by the foothills, but I do see the gliders passing over from the Air Force Academy, so that's just as much of a pleasure.
Wow, that's really cool. It's beautiful. It is beautiful over there, I got to tell you. Okay, it really is. Thank you, Elliott. Much appreciated. I'll be back in touch, I promise.
Okay, thank you, Larry. Take care, everybody.
And thanks for getting up so early. I also appreciate that. Okay, it is 2 hours earlier out there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Dr. Sandra Elliott, my new best friend, Elliott, okay, Chief Academic Officer at TouchMath, touchmath.com, and there you have it. That's simple. We got to get the word out. All right, and we're trying here. All right, we're going to archive the show over at ace-ed.org. Please share it with people. This is important stuff, all right? Reading's important. That's dyslexia, but math is important too. All right? Very, very important. Okay. We're going to archive the show at ace-ed.org. And if you want to get in touch with me, it's Larry at ace-ed.org. Don't hesitate to do so, and have a good day. If you're in that heat, stay cool.